You know, there's this strange myth that when you finally meet the right person, everything becomes intense, electric, dramatic, consuming, but the truth is almost the opposite. When you finally find the right person, you won't be overwhelmed with chaos. You'll be overwhelmed with calm. That calm is not boredom, it's peace. It's the absence of inner alarm bells. It's the absence of pretending. You're not rehearsing your next sentence or worrying about how they'll interpret your silences. You're just there, fully, naturally. You're not performing anymore. For a lot of people, relationships have felt like auditions. You try to be interesting enough, funny enough, accomplished enough, worthy enough. And what that does to your nervous system over time is devastating. You start confusing anxiety for passion. You chase validation instead of love. You measure your worth based on how someone else responds to your curated version of yourself. But the right person doesn't demand a performance. They don't need a mask. They see through all of it, not to judge, but to accept asterisk. That's what makes it different. It's not that they're perfect or that the connection is flawless. It's that you're no longer operating in fear. You're not constantly trying to be chosen because you are chosen. And that knowing, that security, rewires you. In the wrong relationships, you spend most of your time trying to be understood. You repeat yourself, you explain your intentions, you justify your needs. It feels like you're on trial for simply existing. That kind of interaction breeds self-doubt. It teaches you that love is transactional, conditional, something you have to work for and never quite earn. But when the right person arrives, all that tension dissolves. There's a softness to how they treat you, not because you're fragile, but because they value you. They don't sharpen your insecurities, they soothe them. And in that space, you rediscover parts of yourself that went dormant. Your creativity returns, your humor surfaces again, your energy stabilizes. Why? Because love, when real, is not a fire to burn in, it's a place to warm yourself. Some people mistake this peace for lack of passion. They say, "Where are the butterflies?" But butterflies are often just a nervous system reacting to inconsistency. We've been trained to associate tension with love, the push, pull, the withdrawal, the silence followed by sudden intensity. But that's not love, that's dysregulation. Real love feels like emotional safety. It feels like coming home to someone and not having to knock. It's not that you won't ever argue or misunderstand each other. But even in conflict, you don't feel unsafe. You feel held, you feel seen, and that experience is so rare that many people don't even believe it exists until they find it. So if you've ever been in a room with someone and felt an unspoken ease, a quiet comfort that asked nothing of you, pay attention. That's not just chemistry, that's resonance. That's the soul remembering what it feels like to be unjudged. Because when you finally find the right person, the loudest thing you'll hear is silence, but it won't feel empty. It'll feel like peace after years of noise. Growth is a natural impulse, yet so many relationships turn it into a negotiated contract. I'll change if you change, I'll improve if you notice. That's not evolution, that's bartering. The right person alters the equation entirely. They don't push you up the hill, they widen the path so you want to climb. Their presence invites self-expansion the way spring invites seeds to crack open, quietly, inevitably, without commands or ultimatums. Think about how children learn. They imitate what captivates them. When the right person enters your life, you begin to imitate their courage, their curiosity, their discipline, almost by osmosis, not because they demand it, but because they embody it. Their consistent integrity operates like a tuning fork. The closer you stand, the more your own frequencies align. You start waking earlier, reading deeper, speaking with more precision, and you can't quite explain why except that the ecosystem of us no longer rewards complacency. Psychology calls this a secure attachment frame. When safety is a baseline, the nervous system finally has surplus energy for exploration. In insecure dynamics, you waste cognitive bandwidth monitoring threat signals. Will they leave? Will they belittle me so there is little left for creativity? The right relationship shuts off that internal alarm, liberating attention for risk, for learning, for bold experiments in becoming. Paradoxically, you feel most adventurous precisely where you feel most safe. Philosophers from Aristotle to Kierkegaard argue that flourishing requires both actuality and potential, being and becoming. A partner who loves only your current self traps you in actuality. A partner who loves only your potential belittles your present reality. The right person holds both truths at once. I cherish you as you are, and I thrill at who you're becoming. That dual perception acts like sunlight and gravity, nourishing yet grounding, allowing growth to occur without disorientation. Notice, too, that genuine encouragement is never performance evaluation. It sounds less like you should be more ambitious, and more like I see how alive you are when you write. How can we protect that time for you? They intervene in environment, not identity. They adjust circumstances so your latent abilities have room to breathe, remove the stone, the sapling straightens itself. Of course, growth is not always glamorous. Sometimes it means confronting your own shadows, procrastination, envy, fragile pride. The right person sits beside you in that uncomfortable illumination without shrinking away. Their steady eye contact communicates a profound message. Your flaws are real, but they are not fatal. In that gaze, confession becomes catharsis, and accountability transforms from a threat into a gift. What's remarkable is how reciprocal the process becomes. As you expand, you unintentionally create fresh air for them to breathe too. Two evolving individuals generate a positive feedback loop of inspiration, each iteration of one calling forth a new iteration of the other. Over time, the partnership resembles a double helix, distinct strands weaving upward around a shared axis of purpose. So measure love not by how loudly someone applauds your victories, but by how gently they amplify your capacity to win in the first place. The right person does not coerce metamorphosis, they simply make stagnation impossible. Remember that, and choose the chemistry that cultivates your highest becoming. One of the most overlooked signs that you've met the right person is the sudden and unmistakable presence of clarity. Not excitement, not infatuation, not even intensity, just clarity. There's no more guessing where you stand, no decoding half-hearted messages or rereading conversations for hidden meanings. The chaos evaporates, and in its place arrives something many people don't even realize they've been craving: psychological coherence. In lesser connections, ambiguity becomes the norm. You're stuck in a loop of second guessing. You wonder if you're too much or not enough. Every silence feels loaded. Every inconsistency demands explanation, and you exhaust yourself trying to read the signals of someone who doesn't want to be read clearly. That's not love, it's instability masquerading as mystery. When the right person enters your life, that noise goes silent. Communication becomes direct, not defensive. You don't have to become a detective of their intentions, because they express them openly. They say what they mean, and they mean what they say. You stop building theories in your head and start building something real in the present. That's the power of emotional transparency. It grants you the freedom to be present, rather than psychologically scattered. Clarity, in its highest form, is not just about words, it's about emotional posture. The right person stands facing you, not sideways. They're not calculating how much vulnerability they can afford to show or playing chess with your feelings. They're not pulling you in one moment and pushing you away the next. There's consistency, and with consistency comes safety, not the dull, predictable kind, but the kind that allows you to unfold without fear. It's fascinating, philosophically speaking, how truth and love are so intertwined. Martin Buber once said that real relationship begins when one human being turns to another and says, simply thou, not it, not what can I extract from you, but you, in your totality. That kind of recognition cuts through the haze. It replaces the drama of attraction with the dignity of connection. And let's be honest, we've become addicted to drama. We've romanticized the chase, the thrill of not knowing, the adrenaline of uncertainty. But real intimacy doesn't come with flashing lights. It comes with quiet knowing. It comes with being able to sit in silence and not panic, with being able to disagree without fearing it's the end. With being able to be completely honest and not worry that your honesty will cost you the connection. Clarity isn't just a luxury, it's a spiritual necessity. It creates a container where both people can show up fully, without censorship or pretense. And in that container, everything changes, your nervous system resets, your sense of direction sharpens, life itself starts to feel less like a maze and more like a map. You're no longer wandering, you're arriving. So pay attention to how you feel in their presence. Are you anxious or are you calm? Are you decoding or are you understanding? The right person won't be perfect, but they'll be clear, and in a world that often thrives on confusion, that kind of clarity is the rarest form of love. Seek it, choose it, be it.